Hello everyone, I'm Gabriele and welcome to this episode. We are here with Karla Hiraldo Voleau. I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. And we are here to speak about your project titled Another Love Story. The first time that I saw this book, it was during a festival, PH Museum Days, and I followed the presentation of the project, and I have to say that really hit me in a strong way. And I thought I really want this book, so I had to order it because you didn't have a copy there. You never have. You always travel without copies of your books,
yep.
And I understand it. And it is an extremely deep, strong, and emotional body of work.
Thanks.
And as we will see later, it's also performance. So you want me to introduce a bit the work?
Yeah,
the work I'm gonna do it. So after 1 year of relationship with this guy that you generically call X, you discover that this guy also has another full relationship with another girl. At that point, you decide to face the situation, and you had a call with this girl. After that, you started to go through all your mobile archive of images with him, and with all these sad pictures, you start this project and also your healing process. And that's it. Now I want you to...
And what's the twist? Come on.
But I want you to tell that.
The twist? Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Thanks for having me and for the intro. And yeah, it's recording because this is the second time.
This is the second time, yeah. The first time we spoke for 1 hour and 20 minutes, and then we understood that it wasn't recording.
Yeah, you live and you learn.
But it was nice.
It was nice talk, yeah. Only for our memory, our personal memory. Another love story. It's a project about a breakup and resilience and how you turned maybe something very traumatic into something very positive and creative and healing. So as you said, I discovered that my partner had a double life after a year of relationship, and the conversation I had with the other partner is transcribed in the book as well as in the exhibition, because this project is originally an exhibition that was shown in 4 different museums internationally, and then it was turned into a book. And I quite literally took the aesthetic and the concept of the exhibition and the installation and put it into the book very, very roughly. There's no graphic designer for this book. There's no graphic design, actually. It's there's only pictures, because, well, we will see after how I did the layout, but it's quite literally going through the exhibition. And the text, the transcription of this phone call with the other woman is also very central in the exhibition and in the book. And the twist that I wanted you to say that is at the heart of the resilient action of this project is that I took every photo of my relationship with X, all the vernacular photography that was never meant to be exhibited, shown, or be in our project basically, and I reenacted all of them to the centimeter with an actor called Pierre Ansergex, a French actor and dancer and model that I casted.
So not all the pictures, just the picture where you can see the face of X, right?
Yeah. There is so I reenacted all the pictures, almost all the pictures, with Pierre, and him being a doppelganger of my ex. Then it's true, I didn't reenact pictures of trees because I didn't need to. But yeah, when there's a person, when there's X or the face of X, it's most likely Pierre's face. Here we are looking at the cover, which is an original picture because you cannot see the face of X. And it's what we called actually last time we talked, premonition picture.
But I think we can talk about it later.
Yes,
it's a good end of the interview.
Okay,
because it's really beautiful, the meaning that you.
Okay, so I enter the book now.
Yeah.
There is this opening that mixes handwriting and this screenshot of a text. And throughout all this project, I am blurring, like I was saying, I mixed reenactments with real photographs. So there is volonté, volontà, comment ça dit?
In English.
Bah ouais.
My English is worse than everybody, so I'm not the right person. Also for this podcast, to be honest.
I want to blur always the line between fiction and reality. And it's obviously coming from the desire of mimicking my relationship, where once it ended, I asked myself 100 million times what was real and what was fake in my relationship, what was real and what was fake in him. And I find funny that in the end I hired an actor to play X, while also X in the real life was kind of an actor with us, with the other woman and I. And so here is the other woman, and this is the real life text that I sent her. Obviously I didn't write X, but his real name. But the text reads, "Hi, this is Karla. I don't know if you know who I am, ex-girlfriend. He told me something extremely shocking a couple days ago regarding you two, and I'd like to talk to you to clarify the situation. Is it okay?" And she replies, "Hi Karla, yes, please call me." She's English speaking in real life, so that's not translated. And it starts, this is actually chronologically, this is at the end of the 1 year. And then, so we go back 1 year before. We do a flashback basically. A year prior, I had started my relationship with X. And then starts the year with X.
So, just coming back 1 second, because we spoke about this a bit, I think it's an amazing start for this project, because it's really put directly the viewer inside this thing. Mm-hmm. It's amazing that you start from the end, of course, and then you go to this, that it's a kind of introduction. Mm-hmm. And it's really like also, let's say, for me at least, cinematic. Mm-hmm. It's like that movie where you see something also right. I love Fargo, for example, and you see. I love the movies that start with a right that put you in a mood. In Fargo, this is a true story. Yeah, it's not true, to be honest, but they play with that. This is true, and it's amazing that you start in this way without showing nothing else, just to create a bit of situation. We can say that.
Yeah, a little bit of suspense, a little bit of how do you call that, la trame? I mean, it's treated like a story, like a it's a very narrative story, and it's very cinematic indeed, because it's very linear, and I treated it very linearly, as we can see after I go through the whole year chronologically.
And it's also really dramatic to start like that, because you know from the start that it's not. Like it's not gonna
end well. Yeah. I love also this kind of movies that start by the end that you know it's not gonna end well.
I also love that in books. One of the first books that I read when I was quite young, it was a Jonathan Coe book. I don't remember the title right now, but it's amazing because it's a book that everything happened in the exact moment that something is starting to happen. The writer said to you that it's going to end bad. And it's amazing because you know that it's going to end bad, so you want to read it because you don't understand how is it possible, because everything seems beautiful, but you know there is going to be a tragic end. And yeah, it's work also here.
Yeah. So we go into the layout, right? Like I said, it's literally taken from a wall. This is a picture, of course. When I started working on the exhibition concept for the map in Paris, was in 2022, something like this. 2021. I quite literally went through like a month after the massive dramatic breakup. I was back in Lausanne and I went through my hard drive. I knew I could only do it once because nobody wants to go and spend days or weeks or months going into your personal archive. You know, you break up with someone is very difficult. You never want to see that face again, or at least for a long time. So I knew it was kind of like diving into this dark, frozen swimming pool, and I had one chance to do it. So that's what I did in one afternoon. I went to the whole year and I took all of the pictures of my very neatly personal archive, because I shoot a lot with my phone. I document, or at least I documented a lot my life with my phone, and I had already archived everything. So I went through the whole year. I picked all the pictures where he and I appeared together, or were on holiday together, or were seeing each other, and which was a lot. We would see each other every 3 weeks or something like this, and put it all in InDesign, fit 4 per A4, and printed everything with a shitty printer, and with a ruler, cut it in 4. Had this size, which became the size for the exhibition, and then later the size for these pictures as well.
In the exhibition, like you used the same prints, like shitty prints, or
no. I wanted, but then I printed on some kind of Japanese paper that doesn't look shitty, but allows me to hand tore the paper and have a little bit of texture when you tore, you know. So to still have like a manual intervention, that paper, like to see the trace actually of what I did with my hands, and then I put everything on the wall like a detective or something. The walls of my living room were covered of these vignettes, and I organized them chronologically, and quite instinctively I thought to categorize them by months. I had 13 months. It was very, I like that it was from June to June. Okay, perfect. One very clear cycle, 1 year. And we find this in the book as well. Like it's divided in chapters by month and written top right, hand written. And as in the exhibition, there's no tape like here, but here I took the vignettes, put them on my wall again. So this was after the exhibitions, and photographed what was on my wall, and created these clouds, these instinctive clouds. And I was saying before that I did everything quickly, and I mentioned that I had a small window to work with all of this, and every time this is what I do. I work very quickly because I think already had happened in my mind. For me it's very important that the le fond influence la forme.
Say in Spanish.
El fondo influencia la forma, and not the form. It doesn't influence the shape. Doesn't influence the content, but the content influences the shape 100 million%. I do, and then I think. There is, like I was also mentioning, that there's two kind of schools. You do and you think, or you think and you do. Both are great. I was always how do you say, complexé. I felt bad for doing and then thinking. But now I feel very, very proud and very happy to work like this.
But I think it happened quite sometimes also, because not for everybody, of course, but when you go inside something that you don't know so well, or that you know in this case, but that you have to reorganize in some way, I think it's a nice process. Me and Cami also work in this way, not all the time, but it happens, and I think it's amazing to watch all the things that you have in front of you and then try to understand what the pictures are telling you.
what does it, yeah. In this case, on top, I already know what it means. So,
Yeah.
voila, it's not like I have to find a concept or anything. It's just like let the story tell itself. I'm just an editor in the end. That's what I did in this project. I was editing, and then going back to how I did the exhibition, how did the project initially. I had everything in my living room, and then I became a producer. Like I had to cast someone, I had to style someone, I had to location scout, I had to prepare, like produce 3 days of shooting, calculate budget, blah, 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 everything we do for shooting,
But
for normal shooting.
Was it clear from the start when you put all this picture on the wall that you needed like a...
To reenact?
Yeah.
Yeah, this moment when I had already the idea, it was super short term, and it was my stepmom that suggested it to me, and I remember that I did something similar already during my master, and it made sense for me to do that.
And so you contact Pierre.
And so I contact Pierre out completely out of the blue, and it's meant
Pierre?
to be. Pierre is an actor, a dancer, a model that is living in Paris, that I didn't know, and that I found online because he's. Let me see if we can see his face properly. Not really. Okay, he's a good-looking, conventionally beautiful-looking guy. So it was the most easy type of guy to look for. A white, blonde, blue eye, lean guy. Okay, so all the modeling agencies have that. And I decided on Pierre because when I saw him, it was him. Like I had a feeling, I had a very strong gut feeling that was the guy I needed to work with. I called him. He said he just discovered my work 2 weeks before at Foam in Amsterdam. So he randomly knew me very recently. So it was a nice coincidence. And yeah, he agreed. I had a budget from the MEP to pay him. It was all very professional and very weird because the story is weird because, we have to shoot these very intimate scenes with my phone. It's not like a proper shooting in a way, but at the same time, it is very proper. I had my call sheet hour by hour. We had to go to many different locations with many different outfits. I had all the reference pictures printed in a dossier, and it was quite organized. It really helped me in this moment to be so organized and to prepare so consciously this shoot. Like it was not like, okay, let's reenact this. It was really like thought through.
And how did Pierre react to this?
Pierre has a great sensitivity, and there was never a problem with him. We arrived and we became friends instantly. We had a connection instantly. It was never weird, even though there was nudity, intimate scenes to replay. We had to look like we were together. So how do you do that with a guy that you just met 1 hour ago? But thank God he's an actor. Thank God we had a good feeling and a good connection. And he's today still today he's one of my best friends. So I really gain a lot from this encounter. And I think he's always been proud to participate to this project.
We spoke a bit before about the idea, and he thought that it was a good idea also for process what happened to you, or you try to I don't know, to said to you that maybe could be dangerous in some way and painful.
He didn't say anything because he was paid to be shot. So he's not gonna tell me you shouldn't do this. No, but my friends they were quite supportive. I don't remember anyone telling me like, oh my God, you should not do that. But of course some eyebrows were raised and everything, and I think there was some general concern that these moments of reenactment were going to be painful. Like going to my happy place with my ex that was just completely destroyed and going back to these places and pretend to be happy with someone I barely know, like, yeah, that doesn't sound great. But like I talked about it many times, it was an extremely healing process. It was very therapeutic. It was an amazing experience. I remember to feel like happy when I was with him, because suddenly everything you thought was real is not. Every joyous moment of your relationship, every dream for the future, is actually a lie and associated to pain, and your world is upside down. You don't trust yourself. You don't trust that's maybe the most vertiginous feeling, is that you don't trust yourself anymore. You don't trust your instinct, because obviously there were signs that I chose to not see, or that I couldn't see because I was under his spell, under his power. I had my own issues. So yeah, you're like, really? I didn't see. Like, so everything is blurry and difficult. The past, the present, the future, you're really lost in these moments of real of intense deception. So to go back with Pierre, and especially, like, I think this scene was quite.
I just interrupt you in 1 second, because you said to me that it was also a way to, like, have back in some way that moment.
Reclaim my narrative.
And it's amazing. I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah, this moment, I was thinking about that, because in this moment I saw a joyous moment that became a bad moment become a joyous moment again. And so, yeah, indeed, it was a way to live. It's kind of like tricky, but to live a moment, these moments in the way that I want to remember them. It's just with another person. But this afternoon at the lake with the sunset, super cheesy, super romantic, super funny, super voilà, I have it in my memory. It's just that it's with Pierre.
Yeah, and they are true.
Yes, they are true. That was actually also very liberating to do with Pierre. There's no way he can lie to me. There's nothing behind these moments. I mean, of course, he can always lie to me, but I don't care. In this moment is the moment that I'm living with Pierre, reenacting all of these scenes, are true in a way, are truer than my relationship. That's for sure.
You said that in the previous interview. You said that. You had this way to take pictures about your relation, that it was a kind of proof that you was in that relation, and to try to convince yourself that it was a good relation in some way, or a beautiful one.
Yeah.
And so also maybe this is why you finally have a lot of pictures about this 1 year.
Yeah, you mean why? Yeah, okay. I did documented it a lot because we were long distance. So there's a part that when you're long distance, when you see each other, I wanted to capture as much memories as I could, so I could look at it after. And yeah, there is this dimension of performance within a couple, I was definitely trying to convince myself and the world and whoever that I was in a successful relationship just because it was a long-term committed relationship. That's enough to be successful. We are young, we are white and occidental and seriously committed. Voilà, this is stupidly a proof of success for many people. And even though I didn't feel like I was engaging in that narrative, I see how I took pictures of us, how I romanticized everything, how I romanticized him, idealized him. Who was I trying to convince that I was in a happy relationship? I was trying to convince first, I think, myself, because we were not. pretending that we were in a happy relationship, and then probably to the world, to whoever. I was not posting so much online, but definitely this collection of images was in a way performative.
And you also said that there is a kind of chronology that you see in the pictures from the first one to the last one.
Yeah.
That you can feel.
I was mentioning that in all of my works, I don't focus on the single image. I always work as a group of image. I always treat the project as a group of image. I mean, it sounds so basic, but I mean that I take an emphasis on the density and the way I create the corpus of images, and I don't care that one image is beautiful and aesthetic and well composed, but it's more obviously, and that's also maybe the cinematic approach it's about how all the images communicate together. Definitely here, a great example, one of them alone means nothing, but all of them together create such a dense and detailed perception of that moment. And how I photographed him as well throughout the year, like over a long period, to have a big corpus of images tells a lot on the relationship in that case. At the beginning of the relationship, and the beginning of the book and the project, there's a lot of sensual pictures. There's a lot of pictures. There's a lot of portraits. There's a lot of emphasis on the face, on the skin of the body, voilà. And then throughout the year, while the cracks of the lies start to happen, the pictures are more fragmented. There are more details. There are less pictures. They are more unsettling. Maybe they're from the back. You can see if we are good or not, basically, and you can see that I like to think that unconsciously the way I took pictures of him along the year, and that way of the truth is starting to reveal itself through the way I photograph him. And without knowing, I actually maybe start to know unconsciously. I really believe that a lot happens unconsciously when you're in such abusive situations. I definitely had my body told me many things during my relationship with that person that I didn't really notice and want to notice. I don't know, but now I know that when my body is doing this or that, or when I feel this or that, this is definitely my unconscious picking up on things that are not right. This is the last month, for example, and it's a good example of him disappearing from far away. Maybe I'm not even comfortable enough to photograph him like in the past, like in a loving, confronting way. He looks angry. He looks
also,
away.
Like here. Like in the one that we saw before in the collage, you see a lot of his face. You can almost hear you two speaking, and in this one, his face is. There is not one single picture of the face clearly visible.
Yeah, also the last one. It's just a bit of his face, and you cannot not even see his eyes.
And then there are the text.
There is an interview, with the curator of the show at the MAP.
The center of the book, we come back 1 second. There is the telephone call.
Yeah.
Here.
Transcript of a 7-minute phone call with the other woman, which is a call I recorded in real life for different reasons. And that ended up, I didn't think I would ever use that call, that recording, or that I would ever listen to it again. I did it more as a protection thing in case I discover something when I call her, because I didn't know when I called her, I didn't know I was gonna learn that. I thought maybe something was going on. I thought she was his ex-girlfriend. But I didn't obviously know that they were together and at this day, etc. And she neither. So it's a conversation between two women that are absolutely in shock, and but nonetheless decide on the spot to trust each other. Two women that understand on the spot that the problem is him, and we decide to see each other as soon as possible. And during the call, at the end of the call, it's a very quick call for such a big moment and discovery. I'm booking a train ticket, and I'm going to see, and I see her later that day after that call in Paris.
Yeah, it's also beautiful that when you wrote her that message asking to call her, she replied, "Yes, please." Like it was like almost she was waiting for it in some way.
Yeah, actually in real life she was, because to get to her I passed through another friend, and so I asked if I could have her contact and what was her last name and so on. So yeah, because I didn't really have her on my radar. So to get to her, she had to know that I was getting to her. Make sense? So when I texted her, she already knew that I wanted to call her. It's literally like a script, and it's also transcribed as a script, like aesthetically, again to play into the cinematic experience, but also, a fiction, the reality. Is this a script for a fiction, or is this a real scene from real life? But the fact that it looks like a script makes you maybe think into it being staged, into everything being staged. And so you have the dialogue between her and me, and you have these little descriptions, just like you would find in a script, of the emotions of the protagonists and where are the protagonists, and describing a bit the setting.
After this project was published, you received a lot of message.
Yeah, this project really resonated with a lot of people, a lot of women, I have to say. And I received tons of messages throughout, after the exhibitions, but also the book. It's unfortunately a very common story of emotional abuse. It's a very common story of betrayal, of men cheating, men lying. It did happen to... I don't want to be too generalist and say it only happens to women. Of course not. But in my experience, 99% of the messages that I received were from women. And I feel like the people who reached out to me, they were saying thank you, because they felt seen, because they could have also an inspiration to transform their experience, their pain, their story into something else. They not everybody has to make an art project, but just maybe writing about it, maybe talking about it to someone, or just fueling this energy into something creative in general. They were inspired to do that. Also to see, definitely this project is very vulnerable, no? I am the victim of a bad person, or at least a person that did bad things. But it was difficult to be a victim, and nobody wants to be a victim. Nobody wants to show himself or herself as a victim to the public. I'm very glad that it turned out this way, because I also felt like this. I felt very empowered by this project. I felt equally as vulnerable as I was also empowered. And this was also an inspiration to anyone that went through something so violent, psychologically so violent, to not be seen as a poor victim that has no choice but to suffer and go quietly to therapy and then feel like shit. So I also hope that it inspired to feel like you can own the situation even if you were fucked over like this.
Yeah, of course. But also the fact that, I don't know, seeing a project like this, maybe you start to feel a bit less alone.
Totally.
And
You
I
feel
think...
less alone, and also the story of me and her. We were talking about the title as well. You know, another love story is the ironical, we don't need another love story. Another love story, okay. Then there's also another love story. I think the love story in this project is between me and her. I say love with big quotes, but it's in between us three, the only relationship where there's truth and respect and support is between me and her. So that's the other love story of that situation is me and her, and it was important to showcase in story of sorority, because in many times in literature, in movies, we see the girls going against each other.
Yeah.
And the guy having kind of to choose who he wants, and then the two girls fighting and saying to the other one that they're crazy and they're a bitch and a slut and whatever. So no, it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah. When I saw the book, I thought to something else about the title. Mm-hmm. That it was just like another love story, like one love story like a lot of others, one on a million. And also the fact that when you see the pictures, you can really like connect that pictures with your picture in your phone. Mm-hmm. Like it could be the story of like everybody in some way. Of course, I hope no, but could be. And yes, we also have a picture where there is these two girls fighting.
Yeah. The premonition pictures.
Yeah.
That's kind of going back to the unconscious photographing and to the idea that this project is so he's talking about the performativity of relationships, of heterosexual relationships, how we present ourselves to others, but how we present ourselves to ourselves. And then the art therapy part of the project, turning something negative into positive, reclaiming your narrative as a woman, as a victim of emotional abuse, all of that. And then there's also questioning the medium of photography. Like, I tend to had these images, like I said, like when I was doing the big first edit, I had all of the pictures in my room like a detective looking for the truth. But in the end, this taking so many photographs was just reinforcing the fiction that I had built for myself in this performativity of a couple. So in the end, photography in this case is all a lie as well, especially because also if you go through the book, you flip through the book like you did that the first time, you just see a bunch of pictures of two young people in love together, whatever, but they are so deceitful actually, these pictures, and yeah, there's nothing true about anything in this project basically. And it's also all about duality, like we see here in this spread. I love this. I love diptychs of the same moment, and just a second is separating both pictures. And you said I always focus on what's going on in the background. So these two people trying to get each other into the water. And but also I like what you said about the fact that you can also see two facets of X in this diptych, about with the shadow, without the shadow. Like you can. But I always saw this as a premonition picture, because in this moment I find him quite menacing and quite threatening. He's going into the water. He's bigger than the other people in the picture. He's much bigger, actually. He's taller. He's going there, and they're it's like it's the three of us. It's me and her in the background and him in the first premier plan. And one of us is going to go into the water. We're both trying to stay afloat, but either we're going to both go down, which kind of happened, or one of us is trying to throw the other out. There's also the cover. There is a premonition picture, where it's the first picture that him and me took. And because this is a second relationship, so whatever. The night of the re-encounter of us, that we finally decide to be together. It's very funny that the first picture is me hiding myself, not wanting to see what's going on, not wanting to see him, unable to see him, and him blinding me with the flash because he's the one taking the picture, and grabbing me by the boob in a very untender way and possessive. I feel like it's not a hug, it's not a caress, it's not a nice grab, and that's also a very symbolic picture and very premonition picture that I obviously didn't think about when I was doing. But then when when I was editing, I was like, oh, okay, wow, so many little details that makes sense now. There's also another one, this one. Here we are together, laying down in the beach in Portugal, and somehow it looks like we are three. It looks like we were three people, and indeed we were, just that I didn't know. And we were both trying to hold on to each other, but we don't see faces, we don't see who's who, and I also find it's a very funny premonition picture.
I want to ask you about the color of the cover.
Yeah, purple?
Yeah.
I think purple, apart from the fact that aesthetically I liked it, it's the color of feminism, the feminism movement. And it's not that this is particularly a feminist before anything project, but I feel like it's feminine, female-led, and I like this color because of the feminist movement.
It works really well.
Thank you. And voila.
I think we're done.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much to you, and see you with your next book. And I want to ask you if you have a name that you want for the next episode. I know one name because you just said. You can say again.
Marisol Mendes.
Okay, Marisol Mendes.
Because she has an amazing book that is also sold out.
It's really beautiful.
And,
No, I want to know another name now.
Okay, another name. No, you put me on the spot. I cannot think when the clock is running.
Marisol Mendes was really natural. I asked you and you said Marisol.
Yeah, just go with myself. No, because he's our friend, so maybe you want someone that is not also not in our network. I will think about it and I will let you know. No, because you need a book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a book.
It's only about books.
I just remembered one book that I would recommend. It's called You Felt the Roots Grow by Sabine Hess. And she's an amazing photographer, Swiss photographer. And she also, I believe, used photography as therapy. And she didn't use it to overcome a relationship or a breakup, but grief. So yeah, I invite you to check it out. It's beautiful, by the way.